Hello everyone and welcome back. In this new video we are going to create particles GPU from photos. Let's start. So first thing we do, we bring a ramp from top. We change the resolution to 1024 square. We copy the ramp and we copy the resolution from the first ramp, copy parameter and paste it on the resolution on the second ramp, paste references, change the type of the second ramp to vertical. Now we add a reorder. First ramp goes to the first input and the second ramp goes to the second input. In the green output, we change the first option to input 2. So input 1 is red, input 2 is green, and input 3 is blue. Now we bring a movie file in for input 3. I add HSC adjust after my movie file in, and I lower down the saturation. Now I want to change the movie file in from banana to this butterfly. You can find all these photos on your Touchdesigner folders. Now from palettes, you can bring the palettes from here. Go to tools. And in tools, choose particles GPU. And drop it here. Now we connect the reorder to the first input of our particles GPU. So you see the base particles are like these leaves. Now here I increase the burst number to 20,000. In the forces, I change the external Y to 0. I don't want to have any movement now. Here you can also change your camera view when you click on this star. Now let's change the life type to random and life min to 9, life max to 24. So let's lower down the particle size min to 0.06 and the max particle to 0.2. Now here we go closer. In the material you can change the texture of your particles. I change it to circle. You see that the butterfly is kind of coming out from the background. Now let's copy our SHV adjust and let's increase the saturation to 1 again, and the value multiplier is on 1.12. We add another ramp and add lookup. The photo is in the first input and the ramp is in the second input. Now here we can change the color of the butterfly. and we want to use this photo for the color of our particle GPU. Now you see we have the colors. And let's change the light variance to 20. And here I add a node. And before the null I add RGB key. And let's turn on the display to have the output in the background. So here we can play with the color. Now I increase the saturation multiplier to have a sharper color. Now you see, if we change the black color in the ramp, then the particles from our background will also be visible, but I would rather not to do that because I want to have this feeling that the particles are from this butterfly, so there is nothing like in the background. Now here in the particles GPU, I lower down the drag a bit. In forces, in turbulence, I change the first number to 0.04. So you see now our particles have kind of a more visible movement. And the second one, which is turbulence Y, is like minus 0.02. And the third one will be 0.08. Now we have more movements. We can also play with the turbulence magnitudes. Now in the wind, I also add a very small number in my Y, like 0.001. And let's change the material to foam or to lime. And here you see that we can also choose characters in the texture. And here you see we have like random characters. You can also in the material choose custom and create your own material and use your own material for this. Square, snow, but let's get back to line. And here I want to make a feedback loop. I bring a feedback from top, a level from top, and the composite from top. I connect the particle GPU also to the composite, drop the composite on top of your feedback, and change the operation to over in level, lower down the opacity in post. I change it to 0.93. Now we have this feedback. So let's make more space. But now what I want to do, I want to change my material. The line is nice, but I want to show you how you can create a different material that is not in the option here. So here, if you go inside the particles GPU, in this part, that our rectangle is connected, we can bring a box and a transform after our box. Now here we lower down the scale of the box, and also in the transform we lower down the uniform scale. So let's go back to see what we get. So now we are still on the line material. Let's change the material to foam and the texture to a square, because we are using this instead of the square. Now you see we get our particles in a new shade. It's like more 3D. The other one that particles GPU have, they're like more flat. So I wanted to make it a little bit more 3D feeling. Now you see we don't have uniform squares. To get that, you need to go to the geometry here, and in the instancing we need to remove the scale X and Y, which is our receiving number from red color, and here in the transform I lower down the size a bit more to 0.1. Let's try to put the scale again. I think it was looking nice. Now let's continue with our render. After the feedback loop, I add a level. I want to kind of wipe out this like whitish stain in the background. So I increase the black level to 0.01. Let's increase the brightness also. And the contrast. 0.02 to black level, 1.33 to brightness, 1.1 to gamma, and 1.05 to contrast. So let's add another composite after our particles GPU, and let's connect the photo, the actual photo, to this one. So now here first I change the render size of my particles GPU to also 1024 to 1024. And now let's see what we have in our composite. Let's add another composite after the level and connect this composite to this one, and we change it to difference. Now we have a bit of our photo also composed with our particles GPU. But let's move in a bit more to find the best fit. Now if I change the composite to Dutch, we get this, but I think I would rather to go with something else. Let's get back to overlay. I'm just trying different operation for the composite tree, which is our last composite. Yeah, we can have it on screen. Now let's see what we had before this composite. I add an edge after level. For now I don't want to use this composite tree. I add an edge. I add the composite and I connect the edge and the level to the composite. I change the operation in my composite to over and I change the edge color to black. Let's go to our feedback loop and increase the opacity number of the level. I increase the strength of the edge to 2.07. Now I add another composite and I connect the composite 3 and composite 4 to it. I'm just experimenting things. So I leave the composite on a screen and I connect the level. I think for now I don't want to use this composite and I delete this one. Yeah, let's keep it on that. Now let's try to get the uniform boxes instead of what we have here. So let's go to particles GPU. And first, here we have the materials. In Funk, I turn off the blending transparency. And I lower down the size of the box. And here in geoparticles, in the scale X and Y, I just remove the arc color. And now we have the particles as boxes. Now let's try this composite again. I add another composite. I change it to difference. This composite is the one that our particles GPU, like the composite 2, is the one that our particles GPU and our photo is connected to it. Now I add a level. I increase the black level. And I lower down the high G in RGBA and high B. And I add a color. Pre-shrink on 3 and filter size on 16. And let's add another level after the color. Contrast on 1.39 and brightness on 1.11. We add another composite. And I connect this one to the new composite. Change the operation to a screen. And now we have kind of a glow on our particles. So you can play around with this as you like. You can add more operators, you can make them like sound reactive. But here, I think it's better if I have this level after this composite. So let's try. And now I lower down the brightness. And I increase the contrast. I think here we have a problem. Our movie file in doesn't have the same size as our ramp or our render. So here I change the resolution to custom resolution and I paste reference. Now we get a better quality. The problem with low quality was this one. And you can play around with numbers. I'm just trying to get a sharper color. I would add another HSV adjust in the end. I lower down a bit the saturation, and here you can also change the hue. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video. Hope to see you next time.